Now we are shifting focus to some breaking news. Latest coming in, according to reports, the US is prepared to strike Iran as early as this weekend, but Trump has to make a final call. So that is a major update that is coming in from the United States, that President Donald Trump is yet to take a final call on the war on Iran. According to reports, the US is prepared to strike Iran as early as this weekend. So that is a major update that is coming in, that the US is prepared to strike Iran as early as this weekend. And we are joined by Akansha Sarup on this broadcast. Akansha, let's say Trump decides to strike. What will be the consequences in the coming days?
Well, the question is not about the consequences yet. Whether or not is he going to strike is the big question right now, Harsh, because top administration national security officials have already met in the White House. They are discussing the situation in Iran. Trump has also been briefed by his special envoy, Steve Witkoff, and Jared Kushner, his son-in-law. Remember, they've been running parallel talks in the Omanian embassy in Geneva, which happened as recently as Tuesday. While the U.S. red line, of course, remains the uranium enrichment being pursued by Iran, the ball is certainly in Iran's court right now. And sources have already indicated that Donald Trump is in two minds because simultaneously they are also pursuing diplomacy. And so whether or not he is going to strike is the big question. That is what he has also been talking about. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt also has indicated that in the next couple of weeks, they should expect more details from Iran in terms of what is their negotiating position. There's a host of diplomatic meetings that are taking place as we speak, because remember, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio is also expected to travel to Israel on 28th of February. Now remember, at a time when talks are happening, it's very pivotal for U.S. to remain engaged. Tehran had already earlier issued a warning when things were spiraling out of control that if they choose to respond, then they will attack all of those countries which are U.S. allies housing their troops. That includes Israel, that includes Qatar, that includes Bahrain, UAE. So all of Middle East is going to be destabilized. To answer your question, can the United States afford that? Even though there has been an upping of the military and naval assets in and around Middle East, we know that the Strait of Hormuz has borne maximum impact of this. It's a key shipping route. Can the world afford the blockage of a key shipping route like Strait of Hormuz? But as we all know, U.S. carrier strike groups are already arriving. In fact, as we speak, the latest to arrive will be the USS Gerald Ford. And Donald Trump is still giving a shot to diplomacy. So is the attack imminent? Is it going to happen as recently as the weekend? It's still not clear whether the president is taking any of those events into account in terms of the lobbying that's taking place. Remember, Ramadan also has begun on Wednesday, and some officials from U.S. allies in the Middle East, which have lobbied against an attack, are fearing regional destabilization. They're saying that there should be no attack during the Muslim holy month, which would actually antagonize Americans, and it would earn their disrespect.
Right, Akansha. Akansha, as you rightly mentioned, that it is all up to Iran now. But is this a way to arm twist the regime of Ayatollah Khomeini?
So you have a host of players over here. It's not just the Ayatollah's regime that you're looking at. Of course, one is the polity where the Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi has been playing a very key role when it comes to engaging with the U.S. team. As we all know, is comprising the special envoy Steve Witkoff and U.S. President Donald Trump's son-in-law Jared Kushner. But more importantly, it is the IRGC, which is a force to reckon with, and it is the most strong arm of the military in Iran. And many are saying that Iran cannot be treated like other players in Middle East, whether it was Libya or Syria. Even in Egypt, when we saw Ben Ali's dethroning, the military had also gone against Ben Ali in Tunisia. And so the case in Iran is not the same. Whether it is the council of the clerics, they are all standing in solidarity with Ayatollah Khomeini, as is the IRGC. So to topple the Khomeini regime is not so easy, as we are all aware. Harsh, since 2000s, we've been seeing a series of protests, in fact, and none of them have been capable enough to be able to dethrone the Ayatollah. And even though currently Iran is still plagued by domestic infighting, there's a lot of unrest given the cost of living crisis, given the inflation, and it's reaching the hinterlands in Iran. So this time around, the protests have also been serious to dethrone the Ayatollah.
Right, Akansha. I think only time will tell what will happen in the future. Many thanks, Akansha, for gathering all that. Now, as we speak, U.S. warships are moving towards Iran. Let's take a look at a CNN report getting us more perspective.
A massive U.S. military buildup is underway right here in the Middle East. Even as the U.S. and Iran are back at the negotiating table, it's clear the United States is preparing for possible military action. Over the course of the last month, more than 250 U.S. military cargo planes have landed in theater, based on a CNN review of flight data. That's a significant uptick in activity, which suggests some of these flights are tied to preparations for potential operations against Iran. That number also includes flights to U.S. bases in Europe, which have traditionally supported U.S. military operations in the Middle East. Those flights involve cargo planes that can carry everything from personnel to vehicles to heavy equipment like air defense systems that we know the United States is deploying in the Middle East. Satellite imagery is also giving us a look at the U.S.'s more muscular posture in the Middle East. This is Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar, the U.S.'s largest in the Middle East. A month ago, you can see 16 planes on the tarmac. A few weeks later, there are 29 planes, including 7 C-17 cargo planes and 17 KC-135 tankers. Those tankers are used to refuel jets mid-flight, a critical component of any air assault on Iran. At this air base in Jordan, 12 F-15 fighter jets recently appeared in satellite imagery. We've also identified the deployment of Patriot air defense systems at that large U.S. air base in Qatar. These would be critical to protecting U.S. assets in the region in the event of Iranian strikes. The U.S. also has plenty of naval assets in the region. A U.S. aircraft carrier and 3 warships arrived in the Middle East last month. A second aircraft carrier strike group is also now on its way. But this is just what we can see from publicly available information. The last time the U.S. struck Iran in June, we also saw a big buildup of military force in Europe and the Middle East. But it was 7 B-2 stealth bombers that delivered the biggest blow in Iran, according to the Pentagon. Those flew in undetected from the United States.